Hi Bible 101, it's Sarah. I'm here with your next lesson. We're going to talk a little bit about Adam and Eve in the garden. But before we do that, I just want to let you know you're going to do a little review of what we talked about last week, the learnings we did around the stories of creation. But after that, we're going to dive into a very iconic story from Genesis about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Now, iconic, what does that mean? Well, the word icon is part of that word. So icons are things that are very familiar and recognizable. Think about icons like on a screen, you know what they mean when you see them, or on a street sign, or in the airport when you're looking for certain things. You know how to find the restrooms from the icon, you know how to find the baggage claim from the icon. So icons are things that we really recognize, that everybody knows about, and they also can be really influential, things that are iconic, people that are iconic, can be really influence how we think. And we also can sometimes revere them or really look up to them and think they are the ultimate. So why is this story about Adam and Eve iconic? It is the first and maybe the oldest story in our sacred text about good and evil. So that's a pretty big topic, right? Good and evil. And the story is about the struggle between them. And that's a story that so many stories are about, right? So many stories that we read are about the forces of good and the forces of evil and how they battle it out and how they fare against each other. So this might be kind of the first story about that battle or about that tension. So that's what makes it kind of important for us to look at as part of our tradition. So there are a lot of images in this story that you're going to read that have been interpreted by people before you and me. And many times they've been interpreted kind of negatively. And those negative ideas have kind of become part of our culture. Negative ideas about people and about how we act and who we are. So let me give you a couple examples and see if you've ever heard of these images or you have an idea of what they are, these ideas. A mythical, perfect place with peace and harmony. Yeah? Forbidden fruit. Have you ever heard that phrase? It comes from this story. The blame game. I just went along with it. So the idea of not taking responsibility, but just blaming it on someone else, comes from this story. People are sinful. Whew. We're kind of bad, and we need to get better. Ever heard that? People are cursed, and we have to fight against that in order to win God's approval. Some people have thought that. People's naked bodies are a little embarrassing and shameful. You ever maybe not been taught that, but you've heard that or you've seen how that works in the world? Yeah, that comes from this story too. Oh, and here's one that I really don't like. Women don't make good decisions and they shouldn't be listened to or trusted. That kind of has worked its way into our culture over the centuries, and it's still here today even. And it comes from this story. Yeah. So many Christian writers and thinkers from Europe and from the US have used their own moral interpretations of this story to explain why we have good and evil in the world. And some of the morals that are drawn from this story are found in other stories. And they're found in the way we even work as a society, like how we judge people and how we punish people. This story has a huge influence on how we live. So it's really important to read it and think about it and wonder about what it means and maybe come up with some other ways of interpreting it than the ones I mentioned earlier. So I'll leave that work to you guys. Enjoy. Bye.